Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chesterton's Jest, where we keep a critical eye on faith and culture, especially within the Catholic Church today. In an age where even church teachings seem to be shifting, we're here to explore and question the ideas and changes that challenge timeless truths. Through thought-provoking, often humorous perspectives, we aim to bring clarity to conversations others might avoid, holding fast to orthodoxy with the courage to question what feels off track. If you would like to join us as we dig deeper into the faith with reverence, wit, and a touch of Chestertonian insight, you can support this channel by gently pressing the like, share, and subscribe buttons in that order, and we thank you for your support. And now, without further ado, despair versus hope, why we don't give up even when the church is burning. Chapter 1. The Ashes and the Alarm. It is a strange feature of human history that the holiest buildings have always attracted the most flames. The pagan temples toppled, the shrines of Israel desecrated, even the Holy Sepulchre itself destroyed and rebuilt. To walk through Christendom is to walk through ruins, and to read church history is to read a litany of fires. Yet the true scandal is not that churches burn. It is that Christians burn with despair when they do. For despair is the enemy that waits in the shadows of every conflagration, whispering that smoke proves defeat. But the paradox of our faith is that it was founded not by escape from fire, but by a God who walked willingly into it. Chapter 2. The glorious futility of martyrs. The Romans thought they had extinguished Christianity in the Colosseum, just as later tyrants thought they had stamped it out in the gulags. The ashes of martyrs were meant to be warnings. Instead, they were seeds. A faith that survives persecution is miraculous. A faith that multiplies under persecution is positively absurd. Yet absurdity is precisely the key. For Christianity is the religion that proves hope precisely when hope looks most futile. The martyr smiles not because he is insane, but because he knows that the fire consuming him cannot consume the truth. Chapter 3. The comedy of the gates of hell. Christ promised that the gates of hell would not prevail. It is a curious phrase. We picture hell attacking, charging forth with its demons, but Christ pictured hell retreating, battered at its very gates. The church is not simply hiding from siege, but storming the infernal fortress. To despair when the church appears weak is like despairing because the battering ram has splinters. The enemy has gates, the church has trumpets, and if Jericho fell to the blast of horns, hell itself will not withstand the blast of hope. Chapter 4. The paradox of the burning church. When the church seems to burn, we imagine it is the end of the world. But the world has ended many times already. Rome collapsed, Constantinople fell, half of Europe revolted, and armies marched under banners against Peter's throne. Each time, wise men announced that Christianity was finished. And each time, the church stepped out of the smoke, coughing perhaps, bruised certainly, but laughing like the phoenix that always forgets to die properly. To hope when things are good is natural. To hope when the church is aflame is supernatural, which is to say, it is Christian. Chapter 5. The scandal of our sins. It would be easier to keep hope if the fire always came from enemies outside, but too often the arsonists are found within the sanctuary, corrupt clergy, cowardly shepherds, false prophets. This is the deeper temptation to despair, not merely that the church suffers, but that she suffers at her own hands. Yet Christ foresaw Judas and still chose apostles. The very scandal that tempts us to quit is the same scandal that proves the church divine. If her survival depended on our virtue, she would have perished in the 1st century. The fact that she still breathes is proof that someone else is keeping her alive. Chapter 6. The triumph of the trivial. Hope does not shout from balconies. It usually whispers in small places. It is found in a candle lit at a funeral mass, in a child learning the Our Father, in a grandmother making the sign of the cross over her bread. Despair looks at the Vatican and sees smoke. Hope looks at the parish and sees sacraments. Despair counts the scandals. Hope counts the saints. The trick of hell is to magnify the rot until the roses are forgotten. The trick of heaven is to remind us that roses are stronger than rot. Chapter 7. The absurd command to rejoice. The Church commands us to rejoice even in Lent, to give thanks even in trial, to sing alleluias even at funerals. This is not masochism, but metaphysics. For if Christ is risen, then despair is the only true heresy. To believe that the fire can undo what the cross has done is to believe in a God weaker than death. But our God has already swallowed death and come back for dessert. Therefore, the Church can burn, but she cannot end. Chapter 8. Why we stay. Some leave when they see the smoke. Others stay because they see the tabernacle. To leave the Church because she is wounded is like leaving a hospital because one finds sick people there. If the Church is burning, then it is the very place where hope belongs. Christ did not come to found a club of the comfortable, but a kingdom for the crucified, and kingdoms are not abandoned at the first spark. They are defended, even in the ashes. Chapter 9. The Greater Fire. If we despair when the Church burns, it is because we mistake the fire. The flames of scandal and persecution are real, but they are not the final fire. The final fire is love itself, which purifies every weakness and consumes every evil. The devil lights fires to destroy. God lights fires to renew. Pentecost began not with strategy or synod, but with tongues of flame. The truest fire in the Church is not the one that destroys, but the one that descends. Chapter 10. The Last Laugh of Hope. It is tempting to imagine Christianity as a tragedy, but it is not. It is a comedy in the classical sense. It ends in a wedding feast. The bride may limp to the altar, her dress tattered, her face smudged with ash, but she will arrive, and the bridegroom will love her all the more for her scars. Hope is not naive optimism. Hope is the laughter that rings out while the smoke still rises, because the story has already been told. The Church may burn, but she cannot burn out. For her foundation is not wood or stone or even Rome itself. Her foundation is a rock, and that rock rolled away from a tomb. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video and share our passion for defending the true faith with a touch of humor, share this video with your fellow troublemakers and subscribe so you never miss an episode. As Chesterton once said, a madman is not someone who has lost his reason. A madman is someone who has lost everything except his reason. So, let's keep our reason and our faith intact together. Thanks for listening. God bless you, and may the good Lord be praised.